What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York calling from Zoom again, and this time we are here with Gatto of the almighty Nanowar of Steel. It is great to be able to talk with you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Mr. Person.
Anytime, man. Anytime. Mr. Person, will that be my stage name if I join Nanowar of Steel?
No, that's your stage name if you join YouTube
Okay, fair
with
enough.
Nanowar of Steel.
Fair
You,
enough.
you can join us live on YouTube. And in that case, like Alex is just, I don't know. I'd rather call you Person.
Fair
I
enough.
think it's more personal.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Um, but it's so awesome to have you here. Dislike to False Metal is an absolutely kick-ass album. A fantastic album for the Nanowar of Steel catalog. For people who haven't heard the full-length album yet, do you feel that Disco Metal and Winter Storm, the first two singles, are a good representation of this entire album, or is there a lot more to be discovered?
I think they are not. That's why we chose them. But I don't think there is any song that you could say it represents this album because this album is like a mix of different styles. So each song is a completely different style. So maybe the only thing that represents the album is the whole album itself, whatever. So there's, I mean, like these two songs are two regular. I mean, two usual Nanowar songs. It's something that we would do. Maybe it's in our veins. But this album is it's basically greatest hits. It's something I've been saying already. That it's very heterogeneous, right? So there's a lot of different styles.
Mm-hmm. Was that like a
So
preconceived vision for what the follow-up to Italian folk metal will be like? Was it just to make a bunch of different styles and throw it all together, or did it just kind of turn out that way?
both. I mean, we had ideas like for a few songs that we wrote before, even before Italian folk metal, and then it turned out that these songs were, like they were going on different styles, and then we said, okay, let's just write the rest of the album with different styles.
Mm-hmm.
So let's make every song sort of different one and make it. I mean, this is something we've done already in the previous albums. We try to be very diverse, and it's. I think it's the biggest benefit of being in Nanowar of Steel is that you can play whatever you want. It's like we don't have boundaries, so we say, okay, let's play some Italian pop. Okay, let's play some disco. Okay, let's whatever. So we can touch upon different genres, and this is what we did. So this is why we call ourselves like genre fluid metal. We can do any kind of
That's amazing. That's amazing. And
yeah.
I'd imagine that takes a lot less pressure off of Nanowar of Steel as well, right? Because you don't feel like you're confined to a specific style, so trying new things, it always seems to be very flexible in the songwriting process, right?
Yeah, it is, and it's funny. I mean, one thing is that of course, like our fans have some expectations, and they expect the songs to be metal and to be funny. But it's they are two very broad constraints. I
Yeah.
don't really need to be 100% metal. So, and we are completely unable to write anything serious. I would say, like in terms of lyrics, it's not something we could do. I mean, we tried in the past. We had when we were at high school, we played together. We had a band, and we tried to do something serious, but no,
Yeah. Of course.
forget about it.
Of course, I don't think seriousness and Nanowar of Steel will ever be sort of like in the same sentence together. But but when it comes to like all the styles that are incorporated, kind of like again, it's what I said with trying new things. Is it ever like do you just roll the dice with going into it in a way, or like with Italian folk metal, you knew it was going to be called Italian folk metal. With Night at the Opera, you knew it was going to be opera themed or something like that.
Um, so in this case, I don't know. The album title came later, and the album direction was not decided in that way, in the sense that we just wrote again. We had a few songs, and then we said, okay, let's make like each song a song on its own, and it's pick on a different band, on a different genre, right? So that if you get, I don't know, the symphonic metal parody with Winter Storm, you get so sort of Hailstorm pirate metal parody with Sober, and so on. So, but it was not really thought in advance. Like we just because we had a bunch of funny ideas and actually wrote many more songs than what we actually ended up recording, and recorded more songs than those that actually ended up in the album. So like we had many more ideas, and we just selected those that were different enough from a musical standpoint, and then among those we chose another subset, so we had two selections levels, but that came after, like after grabbing, like putting together all these pieces we had in mind.
Hmm. And you mentioned it's going to be metal and it has to be funny, and I find that to
Yeah.
be vague in itself because is it funny like Steel Panther or is it funny like Guar? I think like comedy and metal could always go in multiple directions as well. Just like metal has many different sounds, I think comedy has many different styles as well.
Yeah, we try, like we try that. There's a couple of things we do. It's probably unconscious, but we are usually not explicit with our lyrics. It just turns out like we don't really use a lot of swear words, or like we try to be sort of clean, like some kind of maybe Monty Python kind of irony, not really Steel Panther in this regard. Though we have jokes and we sometimes swear and whatever, but it's not like the core we of a comedy style. So this is something. I mean, again, it's not that we decided to be that way, but it's just that we find it funny, like in a way, not through, like used to too many, too much profanity and like the explicit language. We try to avoid that, but just because we don't find it, it's a joke that when you use too much explicit language, probably the joke wears out very fast. Like it's not funny anymore after a couple of shots. So that's something we usually avoid.
Yeah, I love how Wednesday 13 plays a song called I Love to Say Fuck because I mean that alone you kind of have to drop a lot of F bombs in there, but I think you're 100% right. I consider Nanowar of Steel to be the most professional unprofessional band.
Thanks.
Yeah. Um, but what it is too is that your music is very impressive on a technical level, whether it will be Stairway to Valhalla or Night at the Opera. Like it almost seems like Nanowar of Steel has a lot of technical excellence that is hard for a lot of musicians to achieve. So when it comes to the writing, is there ever like a moment of seriousness that has to be incorporated in there, or are you guys expressing just as much humor when you write the song as we see in the finished product?
I mean, the writing process, like the recording and all the arrangement process, it's a very serious process. I mean, we take a lot of effort and we really make sure the song sounds the way it ought to sound, in a sense that we always have some kind of the writing process. So in a way, it's pretty complex in the sense that the five of us usually take part to it. So it's mostly on the lyrical side and music side as well, though the music side is mostly taken care of by the guitar player. But there's a lot of effort that we put into that, and in that sense, it is completely. We take it really seriously. But even writing the lyrics, I mean, it's fun to write some kind of lyrics, of course, but we really take a lot of effort into making sure that each words is at its place. Like we try not to repeat ourselves. We try to use the again the least amount of profanity that we can, like not to be explicit. There's a lot of things that consciously or unconsciously we put into what we do, and so there's a lot of rules that we need to. I mean, we sort of follow more or less spontaneously, but still it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort to make things, comply with our own criteria, so to say. We have, and especially from the musical side, of course, we make sure that the music thing is, the music part is sounds as good as possible
Of course.
within our capacity. But
Of course, like a lot of people may assume that because of the band is like funny and humorous, that maybe like there's something serious within it. But I mean, to achieve like whether it will be you guys or Steel Panther or Electric Callboy who's been moving up, there's
yeah,
all their humor behind it. But there's an
yeah,
art to being funny just as much as there is an art to being a talented musician.
absolutely. I mean, I think on some level, it's even harder to be funny, like consistently funny. You can be like a good rock band and having like normal rock lyrics, metal lyrics, whatever, and that's okay. But then writing funny lyrics, it takes a lot of effort. Like sometimes really seriously, this is something I've said in several occasions, but for example, to write the lyrics of Norwegian reggaeton, it took us like 4 months, like full 4 months. It was, but we were never happy with that. Like I mean, it's not that we were writing every day, of course. We would meet like maybe once or twice a week, but Like I remember we spent like maybe 3 hours on one single sentence, like to find each word, like to put each word in its own place. And this is something we really take a lot of effort. We really think it's important, and it's because if you make a joke, you really make sure that you craft it in the best possible way. Of course, it's not always perfect and all jokes work, but at least we need to make sure that for us it's about some threshold, and it's good enough.
Well, I think one reason why people love Nanowar of Steel is not just because of the humor and the good music, but the humor that's involved with it. I mean, it is almost satire. I don't know if you read that satire article, The Hard Times, but like I almost feel like a lot of Nanowar of Steel's lyrics do have that satire element that kind of make fun of the subgenres in a way. Like was this rooted in experience in a way to kind of like mock people who take power metal a little too seriously? Was this just from your experience hanging out in a scene, or was this just sort of like an idea you picked up for the hell of it?
Oh no, so that was the first thing. So the Nero started exactly because of that. So I started the band in 2003, and I was 20 at that time. I was a sort of true-ish metalhead, sort of like was really much into the scene. And I was, but in that moment, I had sort of had an enlightenment, and I understood. Come on, it doesn't really make sense to take this whole true metal thing too seriously, and I sort of felt that was lacking. I mean, at least back then, I didn't know of any band that was taking the piece out of this seriousness that was there in the metal scene, in the sense that, like this manowar kind of mentality that you have to defend true metal, you have to fight for true metal, all the other genres suck, and all this kind of bullshit talk, I would say, and that was how the thing started. I was, of course, I was part of it. I mean, I still go to concerts. I still enjoy going to concerts. Still, I don't know, to some degree, I consider myself being part of the scene as a spectator. I mean, I go to concerts here in Rome. I attend, and so I like it. But I think like taking things seriously in general, as a rule, is not just for metal, but like as a rule, is a dangerous thing. Um, I mean, why? Like if you cannot laugh about something, then there's something wrong with you, I guess.
Yeah, and
Like
power
when you take things too seriously, then it's very easy to go into extremes and turn into violence.
Of course, and power metal in itself, like I mean, come on, like those power metal bands you see, those aren't Vikings you're seeing on stage or gladiators that you're seeing on stage. They're people just like everybody else, and they sort of like just portray an element and sing about it. Like what the guys in Sabaton fought in World War I. Actually, come on, so
No, no, no. I mean, of course, most of these bands, I understand that they don't take themselves seriously like I know from personal experience talking to Rhapsody of Fire, for example, or in the sense that they don't really, it's not like in normal day I would go there and slay dragons. It's a kind of lyrics, it's kind of themes that sort of they sound good with the music, and so they work fine with this combination, and it's good to, like to have this music talking about these topics, but then it's just music, right? You don't really need to take that seriously, and then you can have laugh about it,
yeah.
and that's what normal people do most of the time. But
Yeah. Since I discovered Nanowar of Steel, I've always wondered what your perspective on the Norwegian black metal sort of scene was. I would have loved to have seen like a concept album on Lords of Chaos.
all right, well, I had a project back then. I had a band I wanted to call Gayhem, and make an album, yeah, and call it Desfinteris Dom Satanas, like Funeral Fag and other songs. Like I had a whole idea for.
Wow.
if you know that, but I never did it. But I like some Norwegian black metal bands. Of course, like the whole true black metal thing is stupid, but black metal is a genre per se. There's a lot of great bands that I listen to, like Emperor, or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean those are
Um,
classic. But if you really want to trigger
yeah,
some
yeah,
black,
whatever.
you just want to trigger some black metal fans, just say Cradle of Filth is the best black metal band of all time. You'll get
Yeah,
pitchforks at your
sure.
door. But has there ever been a time though with Nanowar Steel where your person, because you mentioned that this was personal experiences from your time in the scene, and in the end, to quote Henry Matisse, every painting is a self portrait. So when you are creating this, do you almost feel that you're still putting yourself in it? Is your own experiences in your own life and your own emotions still something that's invested very much in the music, or do you look at Nanowar of Steel as really just a pure escapism?
Oh, I mean, what? No, for us, it's a very important project now. Like, I would say that it's probably seriously one of the most important things we do in our lives, and it's we take the projects really seriously. We do the best we can. It's as a musician, when you start playing music at high school, there's like thousands of people that do that, right? And then getting to the level that you can actually play festivals and go touring, and you have people interviewing you, like doing these kind of things, that it's something you can only dream of, like most of the times. And having the possibility of doing that is like, wow, okay, we're not gonna fuck this up. We want to take this seriously, and do the best we can and take this shot, and if we can move to the next level.
Mhm.
So we really take the thing seriously. It's very, very important for us.
Mhm. Do you feel?
um
Oh, just
no, 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 sorry.
just with the aliases that you go by with Gatto and Bafo and Muhammad Abdul, like, do you almost all feel that maybe you in a way like portray characters in the end of in your music, or are these like just alter egos of your own personal lives?
Oh, these are just nicknames we got at high school for very dumb reasons. So there's no, like, the guys actually, like, I don't think there's so much of a difference of between us on stage and between us in real life. Maybe, okay, I have a regular like full-time job, so probably there on the workplace I'm not behaving like I am on stage. But when I do interact with my friends or whatever, it's like the kind of joke, the kind of mentality, the kind of things that come up. They are pretty much whatever I put into music, and we put on stage. And I think it's the same for the five of us. So it's not like we play some character when you're on stage, or we do interviews, or we do like we do anything Nanowar related. It's just us. And I think like the fans that follow us and get to know us, they realize that. And it's I don't know, it's just normal. We do, I mean, the whole idea concept of Nanowar is doing what we like. So we like comedy, we like metal, we do both. Why not? And so sometimes we like doing like dance music, we like whatever. It's like, again, the reggaeton thing, we're trying experimenting. It's like we don't really put any boundaries.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's really very spontaneous in a way. We don't really need to act, or like we are something, or we do something, or we have some stage persona. It's just the way we are.
Now, being that this year does mark 20 years of Nanowar of Steel, true metal of the world, the very first demo is 20 years old this year. I mean, how different would you say your songwriting process was back then, and with other bands play, and so on and so forth? That, like, how did like the songwriting process evolve over time?
Well, all right. So the first demo, I completely recorded it myself randomly. And the songwriting was no songwriting at all, in the sense that I just programmed a few drum tracks and I improvised some riffs, and then I improvised the lyrics. Because I said, okay, that's, like, I was sort of disappointed with the latest Manowar albums, and then, like the kind of, what people regarded as true metal, like this thing, you have to be true and you have to play this very basic metal. It was really basic in a way. And I said, okay, then I can just do it improvising on some random tracks, and screaming some random lyrics, because that was what much of the scene back then seemed to me. So, and I would, like to make a parody. And then we sort of started from there, and wrote actual songs. I mean, actual songs, whatever you can call you call the songs in our first albums. But the songwriting process changed a lot. It changed really a lot. We grew up, and we sort of understood a lot. I mean, you get a lot of experiences. Of course, you grow up as a musician, basically, and you're more conscious about what you're doing, and you sort of have a perspective. I think that like when I started the band, and then I got all this. We started the band basically with all these high school friends. It was never about getting somewhere with that. It was just, okay, let's record a few things, let's put them on the internet, let's have fun. Like, there was no plan behind it. It was just whatever comes to our mind, let's just do it. And now it's sort of the same, but it's okay. Let's whatever comes to our mind, let's just do it. But let's try to figure out, like, the best way. How can we record a nice video? How to do the best music possible, and how to work this out on live. Let's think about the lives. Like, it's sort of the same attitude, but it's more structured now. So
Mhm.
it's and in the end, it's very very different.
Would you say that playing live is probably the more humorous aspect of Nanowar Steel? Because as we talked about earlier, there is this essence of seriousness when executing the song. So is it fair to say that playing live and songwriting almost require two completely separate energies?
Yes and no, in the sense that for many songs, for example, they are thought to be played live. So we try to insert their elements that make them funnier live. Like for example, Armpits of Immortals. And so we thought, okay, we should really have festival song, and so that's how the idea first started from Muhammad Abdul, like to have a festival song that we because after these 2 years of closures and festivals being cancelled all over the place. After 2 years, we said, okay, we really need to come back and do something special for the festivals, and so that's how we came up with the idea, like with our Armpits of Immortals. So it had to be a simple song that could be that everyone could follow along, basically, and so that's how it came out. And
What?
that's also for other songs. Yeah, sorry.
No, no, I was letting you finish.
Yeah, no, no, no. So again, it's both, because sometimes we think about the playing the song live, sometimes we don't, and usually when we don't and we just think about the song, then we also do not play the song live because it turns out it's too probably complicated to like sort of render live. Like there's maybe too many arrangements and things that you cannot really reproduce live, and so we just skip it all together. And it happened with many songs that we wrote in the past.
This could apply to songwriting or playing live because, as again, laughter seems to be the armature of Nanowar of Steel and not taking life too serious. But in the end, we're all human beings and we all have our fair shares of trials and tribulations and struggles in a way. So, and if this is too personal of a question, no problem. But if you're dealing with something personal or whatever, and you have a songwriting session scheduled or something like that, do you almost have to make sure that there is like no darkness surrounding you in order to get into that song to achieve that comical aspect of Nanowar of Steel?
I don't know. It's something unconscious probably. I think we just do when we are in the mood with it, then we do it. But even there's I think that the main ingredient is that when we write songs, then it's the five of us together, and we've been friends since basically forever, like since 30 years or something. Even before the band started. So and this alchemy, this interaction that we have, it's that sort of takes, even if we have problems or any other things in our minds, then when we go into the writing process, or even on stage, then it's cancer. We don't think about that anymore. There's really an alchemy that's between us when we are working on, even again live and even in the writing process. So it's
And being that
and
you,
it's
oh, you were saying?
sorry.
Yeah.
No, 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 no worries.
I was just gonna ask, being that being that friendship, the band is built on such a awesome friendship and whatnot. Do you find it maybe easier to come up with ideas and write songs for Nanowar of Steel when you're in the company of each other, or do you prefer to write alone when you're more in isolation and there's nothing between you and your instrument?
um Again, it's both. Like sometimes we might come with an idea and then we just discuss it together, or sometimes someone comes with an almost finished songs, and it's again then we work on it together. It works both ways. Like for me, I probably so I'm taking care more, like in the last years I'm sort of taking care more of the management aspect, so I don't really have too much time to dedicate to the songwriting process. And so most of the times it's like if I have some riffs or something in mind, I would just record it and send it to the guitar player, and he develops it. And then we meet all the five of us together. Um, that's just like from my side. But again, the core part. I mean, I think the most important part is when the five of us meet and we talk about the song, which direction should it go, what kind of comical elements should we add to it, and that's when we have this interaction, there's a lot of brainstorming, and that's where there's all sorts of unexpected things that take place, and I think that's the best part. Like it's probably, I don't know, one of the things that makes the whole Nanowar project maybe unique in a ways that, that's so much mixture that's coming from the five of us. Like we have five different backgrounds in as far as music that we listen to and other things. So
You led me perfectly into the next question, actually, because is it better if everybody in the band? Because every time I ask an artist, "Oh, how was the making of the album?" and if they say, "Oh, we all collectively came together and all mutually," I really don't believe it, because you're a group of 5 or 6 guys. You're making a dozen or so songs together. There's gonna be some disagreement here and there. But do you think it's better if maybe like people having different opinions or being in different headspaces, that could actually help add contrast to the sound in a way? Do you think that's maybe better than everybody just feeling the same?
no, it's better when we have different ideas. And I mean, I can tell you with the benefit of hindsight, in the sense that many times I had ideas about a song, in which direction should it go, and the others were no, 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 no way. I mean, we should do the other way, and they were right. And the other way around. Like, so it's good when we have contrast, and it's good because it very much it pretty much often happens that we don't agree. Like it's very normal at first, and then we find some kind of like middle of the roads arrangement, like how to fix that, or maybe sometime at some point we just are convinced by what the other person is saying. And I think it's better so that way, because it's you're adding more perspective. You're adding, you're not just indulgent with yourself. You always have someone who is critical and say, maybe this thing is not as funny as it should be. We can make it better. And so that's that. I mean, that's a good thing. I mean, we don't. I think sometimes in a personal level, it's different. It's difficult to take criticism, right?
Of course.
Someone says, "Oh, this riff sucks," or "This is not funny at all." This is something we tell each other all the time now. We are very open about that. So if someone comes up with an idea that sucks, we just say, no, we don't like it. Okay, let's move to the next thing. Or this idea in this song, no, we can make it better. So I think contrast it's very important. It's more than contrast. It's important to know how to express it, how to channel it, and how to take it, because it can be destructive. But if I think we've worked together for long enough in order not to make it destructive. Now it's just constructive contrast, and it's good.
That's always good to hear. I think like the ultimate band collaboration is when people understand disagreeing with each other, rather so than everybody just agreeing with each other.
Yeah, that's the same thing, by the way. Also, when we think about the videos, because we usually take part. I mean, we just don't give the whole video package to regisseur, to director. We also take part to that as well. And so even there we have contrast, like, oh, we should do this scene like this, or like this. We should put this kind of comical element, like at least insofar the funny part of the videos is concerned, we try to give our contribution. So and that's also part where we have a lot of discussions all the time. And I'm telling you, because we're fresh from, I mean, we've been shooting videos for the last 2 months, and we had a lot of discussions and meetings about this. And every time it's, okay, no, we should put this, no, we should do this the other way. And it's complex, like finding but we know it in advance. We know and it's good. And the end, the product is better than it would have been if we just followed my idea or Abdullah's idea or anyone's ideas. Like the five of us, it's better in the end.
It sounds like it, and I can't wait to see what those videos look like. So before we go,
Well, I've seen two. Like the third one. The third one is gonna be, I don't know. It's
Oh, I'm excited for. If you can't say what song it is, don't tell me yet. But I'm gonna be looking out for that
no.
now after hearing this.
Okay.
Yeah. But before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time.
We've been spoiling it on social media anyway. So if you follow us on Instagram, we already put some photos for.
Oh, all right, there you go. So
Yeah,
I won't
so
get
it's,
I won't get crap
so
from management for spoiling that information.
Oh no. We decided we didn't spoil the other ones, but this one we said, okay, let's just like create some hype. But I think you can guess. You can get. I'm gonna tell it because it's public, but you can guess it. Like if you know the track list, there's one song that we had to make a video for.
Okay.
If you just think about the collaborations. So
Wink. I think I already have the idea, but I want to thank you so much for your
yeah,
time today and for such an awesome conversation. Is there
okay.
just anything else with Nanowar of Steel that you would like to promote? I know you got the upcoming European tour with Tragedy, which is going to be awesome. I just spoke with them last
Yeah.
week as well. So what else could we be expecting from Nanowar of Steel for the near future?
Videos, tours, nothing. I mean, we got a few ideas for kind of merchandise items, like weird merchandise items, but it's gonna take a while, and not sure we're gonna make it. But usual things, usual band stuff. So videos, music, touring.
So I
Yeah,
can't wait for all of it. Please get your asses to the States. We want you here so bad.
would be nice. Would be nice. Yeah, eventually one day,
One day.
hopefully.
One day. But thank you so much, everybody. Nana War of
Thank you.
Seal. Dislike false metal. Be sure to pick that up on Napalm Records. This is Alex from Heavy New York. We will see you next time.